Hi everyone, you're watching the Virtual Amicus and I'm Jay Lodha. So today is a very special occasion because we'll be recording our milestone episode number 75. And it was just on 30th of May, exactly 6 months ago, when I started this YouTube channel, a platform that allowed young and passionate lawyers to not only give presentations on legal issues, but also topics of their choice to share their experiences, their journeys, also the lessons they've learned over the years. So the whole idea was not only to highlight the importance of having a mentor, because unfortunately we never had one in law school, but also to create legal awareness. It's basically a knowledge sharing platform to solve legal issues that were both basic and complex, and to do it in the simplest of the way so that it's is easy for everyone to understand and comprehend. Now, we sincerely hope that it becomes an integral part of the lives of not only lawyers, but also law students and general masses. And we hope to continue with this level of endeavor to put in more effort, to work harder, and to build this platform into a virtual space that helps just everybody at any given point of time. So it is our 75th episode. And today we have, and it is my great pleasure indeed to introduce the amicus for today's session. He's a legal luminary, the one and only Mr. Abhinav Bhushan. And just to give you all a brief introduction about our amicus for today's session, Sir is a chief executive for Asia, an international arbitrator, member at 39 Essex Chambers. And prior to that, he worked as a director at South Asia at ICC International Court of Arbitration, also served as deputy counsel at the International Court of Arbitration. He studied dispute resolution and corporate law as a part of his master's program from Columbia Law School. And he's also worked at a very prestigious law firm called Mullan Associate, where he worked 7 years. And he studied law from Government Law College, Mumbai. So thank you so much, sir. It really means a lot, your presence on our channel, and to be the amicus to readily accept our invite. Sir, anything that you wish to say as opening remarks before we start with our session?
Well, I think the opening remark would be to thank you, Jay, and the virtual amicus for inviting me for this episode, and I look forward to having this little chat with you.
Thank you so much, Ade. So, to all the viewers who are watching, our topic for today's discussion would be on a career in international arbitration. And we could definitely not have thought of a better speaker, a better amicus than Mr. Bhushan himself. So, sir, the stage is set. The floor is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you. Jay, I don't want to make this talk too boring or too long. And I must confess that I have given a talk on how to build a career in arbitration. To start with, there is no shortcut to build a career in arbitration. And I find these days that a lot of law students, particularly from India, are very keen to build a career in international arbitration. When I was at law school, frankly, I had no idea about building a career in international arbitration. But of course, hindsight is a virtue. If I had an idea how to build a career in arbitration, then perhaps I would have lived my law school life slightly differently. And therefore, if you want to build a career in international arbitration, I think the first thing is that awareness when you are in law school, whether actually you want to build a career in international arbitration, because that awareness is hard to come by. You know, you are working with your peers, you are doing different internships. Frankly, you don't know what you really want to do. Sometimes you don't even know if you want to be a lawyer. But I think the way to sort of get around it is you obviously have to engage yourself in different activities during law school. You have to, as we all do, different internships during law school. You have to engage yourself with, you know, the moot courts. And I can't emphasize enough on the importance of writing. The silver lining that one would hope for at the end of these multiple activities that you do in law school is to perhaps arrive at some sort of a awareness that, all right, I'm in my third year, fourth year, maybe perhaps fifth year, or in the second or third year of law, of the 3-year course. And after having done an internship at a law firm, different law firms, I think I want to do more in international arbitration. And once you have that idea, because you may not have that idea, you may want to do tax, or you want to do family matters, etc. Then I think your first port of call should be two things. One is to write something about international arbitration. But the easiest segue, and I can tell you a lot of students do that, is try and participate in an arbitration related moot court competition. And the best one out there, not the best one, but the one that's sort of been around for a long time and is the benchmark for any arbitration, and it's probably the biggest arbitration competition, is the Viz International Moot Court Competition, which happens in Vienna, but also happens in Hong Kong. Try to take part in that. Try to take part in your law school's law review, if you have one, and perhaps write an article. If you don't have a law review, then publish a blog. Then in your fourth or fifth year, try and get experience by way of an internship in arbitration. You are unlikely to get experience in international commercial or international investment treaty arbitration in the first go, but you take baby steps, right? You work on a domestic arbitration. Perhaps that's the easiest you can start with. Then if you're working at one of the more credible, I mean, not credible, but some of the law firms in India who do international arbitration, and if you happen to have an internship there, then you try and work with the team on an ongoing either domestic arbitration or international arbitration. Then you try and you graduate, and mind you, it's important, regardless of which career you're trying to build, to not ignore your academics in the law school. I think academics are very, very important, as much as, if not more, than the extracurricular activities that we undertake. I went to Government Law College, and I had the fortune of interning at Mullah and Mullah during the 5 years of my law school. And then when I graduated, I got absorbed by Mullah and Mullah, so I worked there for another 2 years. And then, which I encourage everyone to do, is a master's, an LLM, focusing on international arbitration. Now, there are two schools of thoughts. Some people like to do a master's immediately after law school, and then there are some who think that one should work for a year or two and then do a master's. I belong to the latter school of thought, and that's exactly what I did. I worked for Mullah for 2 years, and then I did my master's at Columbia Law School. Now, in the last 10 years, there are so many law schools around the world that have an excellent international arbitration course. Some of them obviously include, so some law schools have a specialized arbitration course, and some people have a general LLM. But even when you have a general LLM, you are at liberty to pick your own credits. So for instance, Columbia Law School does not have a specialized arbitration course. But when I got admitted to Columbia Law School, I took my subjects in a manner that they were more arbitration heavy, right? So you can do that. And then, of course, some of the other institutions that have a very good master's program in international arbitration Columbia, of course, has excellent courses, but some of the specialized courses are MIDS in Geneva. Then there's the Stockholm University's LLM course. There is National University of Singapore, the NUS LLM course. There's a course in Miami, and then there's a course in Pepperdine, and there's Queen Mary University in London. And you may have seen so many Indian students and so many other students are doing these courses. Now, the problem is for any student, and I had the same problem, that masters are not, A, they're difficult to get into, and B, they're not inexpensive. So one has to really sort of, take a call as to how can you do a master's, because a good master's can cost anywhere between 50 lakhs to a crore, right? Including tuition and living expenses, etc. And then the second problem that most of us, uh, you know, find the difficulty is that, are you actually going to get a job after your master's, after having put in so much money, time, energy, and effort? And the unfortunate answer now is that there is no guarantee whether one will get a job in international arbitration after doing a master's, regardless of which university you go to. But having said that, would that necessarily mean that you should not consider doing a master's? In my view, perhaps not. Doing a specialized course in international arbitration and the concepts and the subjects that you undertake and the coursework you do, absolutely, undoubtedly, expands your understanding of the subject. Something that I would say that is not readily available in the Indian curriculum just as yet. And then the trick, of course, while you're doing your master's, Jay, is that you have to keep applying to as many places and countries as possible. The good news is that once you're doing international arbitration, since it operates on a cloud, your eligibility to apply for a job increases a lot. So you could be an Indian national having done LLB at an Indian law school, having then done a master's from one of these universities. You can then pretty much apply in any of the big seats of arbitration: DC, New York, Paris, London, Singapore, Geneva, Hong Kong, all of them. And I'm very happy to say actually that there are so many Indian students, Indian lawyers now, who are working at law firms in almost every part of the world. Every city that I can think of and every big law firm that I can think of in the world is likely to have an Indian than not, and sometimes many, many more than one. I always say this, yeah, that look, if you love arbitration, arbitration will eventually love you back. But I started this talk by saying that there is no shortcut. You have to not simply give up. I know students, I know some of my friends, including me, who had applied to multiple places to get that one job in international arbitration. So if you just apply to 5 or 10 places and then you say, look, oh my God, I'm not getting a job, perhaps you can do better. You need to be at it. You also need to network, right? In India, but equally so when you go for your master's. Now, people will keep telling you how to network, but people will keep telling you to network, but I don't think anybody will tell you how to network. And I don't know if there's a right answer to this question, but perhaps the answer lies in the negative form, which is how not to network. So you have to be consistent. You have to present yourself at every networking event that is being organized. You have to present yourself at the conferences if you can. You have to go and speak up for yourself. And look, when you're doing all of this, you're not meeting a person for the first time. And in that first instance, you're asking for a job. You're not really doing that. You need to read up on the world of international arbitration. Is a very small world. And it is not very difficult to spend some time on the internet. All the information today in the age that we're living in is available on the internet. Read up about which law firm is doing what kind of work, which partner in that law firm is doing what kind of work, which law firms are more active in international arbitration and which jurisdiction is good for arbitration. All of this information, actually, you can collect that, and you can focus your search for a job based on the information that is readily available. But again, like all of this depends on your interest, right? So you have to be true to yourself. You're not looking for a job, you're looking for a career. And there's a difference between the two. If you want a career in arbitration, the approach is very different. If you want a job in international arbitration, then I don't know. I would look at it from a careers perspective, right? And you build a career in something in which you're interested in, you're passionate about, you're reading up the subject, you know who does it. I mean, the people and the parties and the stakeholders, as one might, if you like, of that practice. And it's a journey, right? So you do your 5 years of law, your 3 years of law, then you during that law school time you do your internships and do your moot courts and do your law reviews, article writing, and then you work at a law firm, and then you do your masters, and then finally, you perhaps clear a bar of another country, make yourself dual qualified, and then you have perhaps a credible CV for a prospective international arbitration partner to look at it, right? Because you're not just competing with yourself or with a couple of your classmates. When you're looking for a job in international arbitration, you're competing with literally every other person in the world who's also looking for a similar opportunity, whether it's a Brazilian, an American, a French, Australian, Singaporean, doesn't matter, because everybody is eligible to apply for that position regardless of where you are, more or less, unless there's a specific need for a Latino lawyer or an Indian lawyer, etc. But broadly speaking, pretty much you can apply for most places with that sort of a qualification. So that's the broad sort of an outline as to what one should do and how to go about it.
Thank you so much there, sir, for such an insightful session. Two quick questions, sir, before we wrap this up, and I hope you have the time to... Yes, sir.
Sure, please.
Thank you so much. So, question number one, sir, what would be your piece of advice to all the young lawyers who are watching this and who wish to build a successful career in the field of international arbitration, both for young lawyers and for law students? Over to you.
Yes, I mean, all of what I said. The advice would be focused, know if you want to build a career in arbitration. Do not go for the fanciness that, oh, you'll get to travel and, you get to visit so many countries, etc., etc. See if you like the subject, right? If you like the subject, and if you think about that subject enough, is the first port of call. And if you do, then you do those other things like internships and moot courts and LLMs, and then get at it. Like I said, if you love it, if you love something, just keep at it and it will come back to you eventually.
And lastly, sir, importance of having a mentor in this field, sir. And in your case, who was your mentor?
Look, I cannot stress enough on the importance of having a mentor, Jay. And unlike many things, I think you can find a mentor relatively easily if you are actively thinking about having a mentor. Make a mentor, find a mentor. It could be someone in college, it could be a senior, it could be a professor, it could be or a friend. It's okay to talk. The other problem that I find why having a mentor is also very important these days is that a lot of us, mental health has become such an important thing in life these days. And, amidst this fierce competition with your friends and with your colleagues, the race to get internships and to jobs at a law firm or to join someone's chamber, the fire to be a successful lawyer, I think that creates a lot of pressure to meet with your own expectations, your friends, your family, your parents, etc. expectations. And it's not easy. It is absolutely not easy. And therefore, it is very important to talk. It is very important to tell somebody how you're feeling about it, because there will be times when you will feel incompetent, you might feel not up to the mark, you will fear failure, and that will in turn make you complacent about things, etc., so on and so forth. We all go through that, and we go through that at every stage of our life. And therefore, it is important to have a mentor, somebody you can speak to, somebody you can take guidance from. And again, there is no one mentor, right? I mean, as you go in your career, your mentors, people come in your life, and people, you grow as a person, and then you understand that who you get along with and who perhaps might be the right person to take counsel from. When I was in college, I had the fortune of having Professor Kishu Daswani, who you might know, Jay, as a mentor. And it's not that he became my mentor on day one, right? I mean, um, I was a part of the law review. I was working for him. I was involved in college committees. It's also a trust building exercise, right? You have to trust your mentor, but equally so, your mentor has to trust you, right? Um, so, and then I had my friends, my seniors, who have also mentored me through this process. When I was applying through Columbia Law School, a very good friend of mine, Nikhil Bodade, who was my senior, who had gone to Columbia Law School, and I wanted to go to Columbia Law School. I reached out to him. I said, Nikhil, how do I go about the application process? And he really helped me through with it. Um, and I will always be grateful to, to my mentors like Professor Daswani or Nikhil and the others who have come at later points of time in my life. And I joined the ICC. I remember the Deputy Secretary General Jose Ferris was my mentor, and he really helped me understand how the ICC works and how the arbitral ecosystem works. Until date, every time I have something that I need, he's always there to help me out with it. Then I joined, then I came to Singapore. Then I had other people who helped me out with it. But here's the thing: nobody's going to come to you thinking you need a mentor. You need to reach out and build that trust with your mentor to do this. In fact, there is an excellent ICA, the ICCA mentorship program. I think anybody who wants to build a career in international arbitration should look at the ICA mentor mentee program, where you can become a member and then you're assigned a mentor and in international arbitration who sort of guides you through your law school, etc., tells you what to do, how to do, puts you in touch with people. And I think that's an excellent sort of a way to find somebody who does international arbitration, because there you're actually given a mentor, right? You don't even have to find one; you're just assigned one. But generally in life, Jay, I'm sure you have mentors and you have people to reach out to, and I can't tell you that how important again it is to have that sort of answer. You're not alone in this process. Everybody is going through with some sort of a difficulty or the others, whether it's a personal difficulty, whether it's a financial difficulty, or whether it's a professional difficulty. We are all humans at the end of the day, right? And we have emotions and we have anxiety and we have all kinds of things. But please don't ignore that. Don't, be silent about it. Don't take it all inside. Talk to somebody. It's always helpful. You may not even get the right solution in the first instance, but just the ability to be able to talk to somebody who you like, who you trust, eases off that, that pressure that gets built up inside over months and years sometimes, that frustration, if you like. And therefore, it is very, very important to talk. And the other thing is that in order to, the process is that you have to be a good junior in order to be a good senior, and vice versa, right? So you get mentored and then you mentor. And it's like the way you give back to the system that you belong to. And I think that's critical. The one other thing I would like to just add is the use of social media. The world that we live in right now, the amount of time that we spend on WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram, etc., and LinkedIn, I think it's very easy to get lost in the amount of information that is available to us. I always say that please use social media, but don't let social media use you. So use social media, because the advantage that we all have today is that any judgment that comes out, any legal update that comes out, within almost real time, you have access to it, whether it's, especially in India, whether it's bar and bench or live law, whether it's, the Manupatra or etc., and so on and so forth. So use that. Keep yourself updated with the developments of the law. Uh, because over time, it will also tell you that why you skipped one particular article but read the other. If you do that introspection over a period of 1 year, that you perhaps ended up reading more constitutional related articles versus arbitration related articles, and perhaps you like constitutional law better, or you have more sort of a, your mind is more, attracted towards a particular field of law. So do that introspection as much as possible, uh, but not too much, of course, because too much of anything is perhaps not uh, helpful. So use social media. Um, and just to sum it up, your law school life is very important. Make it all rounded. Just try not to be that student who just goes to law school and somehow just gives the exams and you're doing law for the heck of it. If you're doing a 5-year course and you're giving your 5 years of your life to a law school, or a 3 years of your life to a law school, then get absorbed. Then get absorbed in that environment. Do everything that is that you can possibly do in a law school. Moot, write. If you don't like mooting, then fine, don't moot, but then substitute that activity with another engaging activity, whether that's a MUN, or writing an article, or doing something else, or a spill, this promotion of international law, and build relationships over time. Relationships are purely a function of trust. And this trust building exercise doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and sometimes years or even decades for trust to build, and try not to break that trust. Consider doing an LLM if you want to build a career in international arbitration. Thank you.
Well, words of wisdom there coming from you, sir. A big thank you, sir, once again to you, sir, for taking out time and for doing the 75th milestone episode on the channel, The Virtual Amicus. And we were privileged enough, fortunate enough to know you during the law school days. We could readily access you for any help that we wanted. But there are so many people, not just in the state of Rajasthan, but otherwise, law students and law who don't have access, and because of COVID-19 things have got really worse for them. So I'm glad that the session happened. I'm glad that the channel happened, so that I've always felt, and I've always been of the opinion that if there's a room that has 100 lawyers and every lawyer gets access to equal number of resources, then it is only merit that is the criteria. That
Absolutely.
only when you have access to the resources that.
No, you're absolutely right, Jay. I want to congratulate you for working so hard and for having this virtual amicus. And I've seen your previous episodes. It's a lot of work that you're doing, and I'm glad you're doing, and I hope people are watching these episodes, because this is a thankless job. I don't think you get paid for it, but
Unfortunately not, sir.
this. Yes, I know. I fully understand that, and I hope that the amount of time and energy that you put into this, I hope people watch these episodes and perhaps get some information, knowledge out of them. So well done, and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, to all the viewers who are watching, next episode is on its way. Sit back, relax, enjoy the 75th episode featuring Mr. Abhinav Bhushan, the man himself. And big thank you, sir. Thank you so much once again.
You're
It's
very welcome. Thank you. Have a good
goodbye
day.
for
Bye
now.
bye.
Bye-bye.